comigo. Hello, hello. Good
Hello, everyone.
morning, good afternoon. Hi, Nuno. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. And you?
Very, very good. So, we are back here in our live, and today we're going to talk about Kriyas. So, if you don't know what is Kriya, we hope you stay here to learn a little bit more about this specific kind of technique that we use in our yoga classes, and also that's really common in India. We know that they have a really specific and really strict sense of hygiene. Actually, it's a wider sense of hygiene than ours in Occident, in my opinion. So they are part of this tradition from India, and it's also part of our 8 parts practice that we do in our practice room and in our daily lives. And today is going to be the subject of our live. So, Nuno, before we start questions, you want to add anything?
No, let's jump into the questions because it's a very curious topic.
It is. It is. It's not as common as the body techniques, the breathing techniques, the relaxation, the meditation, but it's as important as any of those techniques. And in fact, they do prepare our body to the execution of the body technique. So they are really important. And it's something that's really incorporated in the Indian tradition. And we're gonna learn a little bit more about the subject today. The first question we have today is if you can explain the meaning of Kriyas and what's their role in the Rose method and in yoga.
Good. So, Kriyas are one part of the class. Usually for beginners, we start with simple techniques. And by definition that we give in the class is activity of the purification of the mucous membranes. Will be the best definition of what Kriya is. Uh, so what actually happens during the class? We'll do um, specific techniques that have the goal of creating a detox or to optimize how our internal organs that usually are taking care of our detox daily to function better. Okay, so if you like another visual to help you out about what kriyas are, it's an internal shower. Okay, so you have your external shower every day. Then we have a few other techniques that can do a similar job, but internally. And for the yoga practice, it is an essential part that prepares asana, that prepares the body technique. And in the context of the DeRose method, is a way of self-care, is a way of taking care of our body because it is our body that is going to hold our lives, right? So we need to be kind, we need to be careful, and so kriyas are doing the job for us.
Nice, nice. And as I already said in some other live that we had, in Indian, you cannot say in India everyone do this because it's such a no tradition and it's so many people that's hard to say that people do this or do that or don't do things. But in my experience and of what I saw in my many travels to India, people really take care. They are really clean people. Like usually people say that about Brazilian, like Brazilians are the ones that take more showers in the world, like in Miriam. In India, they have a more expanded sense of cleans and cleaning. So, for example, they don't go inside the house with their shoes on because they don't want to bring the dirt from the streets inside the house. Today, especially after pandemics, a lot of people are adopting uh, this kind of
Behaviors.
behavior or habit. But in
Yeah.
India, they have done this for a long time, and in other countries as well. But India is the one that matters the most for us. And they have this tradition to clean their body internally, as you said. And we do some of those techniques. I'm going to ask you to explain some of them a little bit later, but I would like to understand why they are important and what are the results that they bring to our body and to our mind. So, why they are important and what's the results, the expected results for our body and mind.
Yeah. So I think the best way to answer that question is to bring another question. Why do you brush your teeth? It is
Mm-hmm,
the same answer for all of those questions.
mm-hmm,
Okay?
mm-hmm.
Because it is a need. Brushing the teeth is a kriya for us. So it is one of the many kriyas that we can do. And the answer is the same. So it is internal hygiene. It is a way to take care of the body. It is important to clean the house. For example, you eat, then you brush your teeth. Have that sense of connection, exactly the same with all the other kriyas. We do it to clean the house. Okay. Uh, I think you had another question, but I just got so excited with
What's the
this.
results that they bring to our body and mind?
So, for the body will work better. So, the function of, mostly of the internal organs will improve with these techniques. So, function will work, the body will work better. Therefore, your mind will perform better as well. Okay? You know when you're tired and you still need a few things to do and you say, "Let me take a shower and then I'll do it." That's the thing. Okay? That's exactly the same thing. Um, Clean and then your mind gets in the right place. Okay? So, same answer.
That's it. And it improves directly the quality of life that we have and also the longevity because relating to an engine, for example, a dirt engine is going to have a lifespan way smaller than a clean one. And the same thing happened to us. We are really complex engine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now it's the moment. There are a lot of kinds of kriyas. There are some that are traditional in India, but in our schools we don't use it. And there are some that, even though we use and we know, it's not something we do inside the practice room. So I think for today, we could talk about the ones that we do in the practice room and how we do them and what's their direct impact, for example.
Good. So, we have these two main categories, which are the dry kriyas and the humid kriyas. Humid, that means you're going to use water or utensils with water or utensils somehow. And usually we perform those or we teach those in specific workshops. And it's kind of, you need to set the tools, the water. You had a lot of prep to do those kriyas. And of course, we can do them, but in the context of a class, it will be, you will break the flow. So the dry ones are the ones that they better match how we want to do the class. Um, the most common one is the abdominal contractions, which is one of my favorite techniques, I have to admit. Um, It became quite popular on Instagram. It was called Alien Yoga. That was the highlight, which is our Nauli Kriya. It was a close up of an abdomen making a wave and became very popular. And then they went out to, I think this was in the United States, to interview yoga teachers. And most of them said, "Oh, I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't do that." It was kind of out of the realm of what they were teaching. But for us, it's a very common technique. It is doable probably in less than a year of practice. A lot of our students in less than a year, in a regular basis training, they can do Kriya, that specific Kriya. And it starts with the abdominal vacuum, which is on an empty breath, pull the abdomen in and up. That's the starting point for most of the abdominal contractions type of exercises. And that's the most common one.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, we can have people that cannot do by any reason. Okay, for example, if one is pregnant, it is not convenient to do this exercise. So we have other dry kriyas that we can do in class
Mm-hmm.
um, to clean
Before
your eyes, for
before
example. Go,
we
go, go.
start to explain the other ones, what's the expected result of the daily practice of this exercise that you were telling us about, the Nauli Kriya?
Yes, so it will create an internal massage to the abdominal organs. So that means they will start functioning better. So
Mm-hmm.
if your intestines are kind of slow and lazy, that can change. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Mm-hmm.
if you usually have heavy digestion, sometimes it helps as well. It's not for that purpose,
Mm-hmm.
but it is the common feedback. Oh, I started to do the abdominal contractions, and then things down there started to work better, you know? It is what it is. Also, your abdominal wall, so the muscles, will become better developed. And with the better abdominal wall, you're gonna have better posture. You're gonna feel less tired. It is amazing. If you do good abdominal contractions, you're going to feel less tired because your abdomen is strong. You can hold on a neutral position, your torso in a neutral position longer, so you don't feel physically tired, which nowadays is gold for us.
It is, it is. And the better moment to do this exercise is early in the morning when you go and when you're gonna use the restroom, you do your kriyas because you have an empty stomach. So it's the best moment to execute, even though it's also part of our daily practice and that can be any time of the day. The biggest recommendation is not doing that after a heavy meal, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's just uncomfortable. You start doing it and you know that you're doing it. You shouldn't be doing it. So
Not the
don't do
right
it after
moment.
the meals. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and the other ones that we usually do inside the practice room, you want to explain a little bit for us?
Yes, for example, Trataka, which is an exercise for the eyes. We have Kapalabhati, which it is almost like blowing your nose, uh, using a breath work exercise to do so. So there are other alternatives. It doesn't need to be always abdominal contractions, but it's the one that it takes longer to unlock the power of that technique. So usually as a beginner, the first years, you're going to see a lot of the abdominal contractions part of the class. Having these alternatives once and then to bring variety to the class, or someone cannot do it and then they can have alternatives as well.
And there is this technique that got really common and trendy outside the environment of India or yoga. That is the cleanse of our nostrils and all this area. You want to explain this one because it's really common, all very known
Yeah, yeah.
and really
Uh,
useful as well.
mhm. And became even more popular during COVID because it was one of the cleaning procedures that we should do often. It was to clean the sinuses up here, which is the nasal douche. other words, the neti pot. You have so many possibilities of giving names, but what we use is saline water that you pour into one nostril and it will leave the other nostril and clean everything in the way. Um, I know when I started to practice 20 years ago, it was hard to find those things and it was kind of
Mm-hmm.
strange. But
Mm-hmm.
now you go to the drugstore, you go to the pharmacy,
It's
and
there.
you find it there. You teach them to kids. It is very useful for kids if they have
Mm-hmm.
like those kind of infections, rhinitis, and all those issues. It can be used as a cleaning procedure for the nose and sinus.
Mm-hmm.
So it is something that we did for forever.
Long time. That's true. That's true. Okay, how is the practice of the Kriya in your daily routine? And is it something that anyone can learn and apply in their daily lives?
I would say yes, because it's a concept that is quite large. So if we understand Kriya as cleansing procedures, even brushing your teeth is a kriya. So that means when you take a bath, when you take a shower is a kriya. When you brush your teeth is a kriya. When you blow your nose is a kriya. When you do abdominal contractions is a kriya. When you are tired, take out your eyeglasses and you do something to kind of stimulate the muscles of your eyes is a kriya,
Mm-hmm.
and so on. It can be present in so many different ways in your day that can actually bring an amazing result for the practitioner. The more we use, the better we feel. Okay,
Yes.
it is um, a really good exercise and one of the easiest one to extract from the class. I would say that breath work and abdominal contractions are those that you can do it outside of the class. They work in the context of the class. They make a lot of sense. But if you take them out isolated, they will work as good as if they are in the class. Okay, so that will be perfectly fine to do it
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah, I really like that you said about brushing the teeth or taking shower. It's like it's the same thing. When you get used to do that, you miss when you don't. So it's good things to add in your daily routine or every week or every 2 or 3 days. It's really interesting to add that. Oh, and of those kriyas that we use inside the classroom, and also this one that became really trendy or famous, that's washing your nasal nostrils and all this area. Which one of those would you recommend for beginners? If someone doesn't do our practice or doesn't beginning, they can do any of those, or do you think that some of those are not recommended to the beginners?
Okay. I'll say that many of those are recommended to beginners, but of course, there are a few details that we need to observe. Okay, so for example, if you have your any issue on your diaphragm, abdominal contractions, maybe you need to avoid them. Okay, or you need to take care of that injury, and then you can start working on your abdominal contractions. Hypersensitivity on the nose can make the use of the nasal douche less frequent than a beginner. So I would say for most of us, won't be a problem for beginners,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but go slowly, baby steps, okay? Don't rush into these techniques because they take time even to feel comfortable. Like the nasal douche or neti, um, for many of us are uncomfortable. We feel uncomfortable of feeling water inside of the nose, okay? That can be something that you don't feel good. It takes time. Okay, it takes time for you to get used to. I can do it every day. I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel uncomfortable at all. Actually, I like to do it. It is a technique that I enjoy doing it, but it took me a while to feeling more familiar with that sensation. Uh, and now it's completely fine. Okay. Abdominal contractions. You'll be dyslexic doing the abdominal movement in the first months, and then you become more comfortable. So there's a learning curve for all of them. But I would say that you should be fine for beginners with abdominal contractions, nasal douche, even the Kapalabhati, like blowing the nose a specific way, which shouldn't be an issue for beginners.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I would say I would follow those two recommendations. The first one is to see how you feel. If you feel good, it's okay. And the other one, if you have the possibility to have a good teacher to give you instructions and to follow up with you, are the best ideas we could have,
Yeah,
right? Is there
agree.
any kind of sorry, thank you. Is there any kind of preparation, like a physical or mental preparation, that we need to do this kind of practice?
Uh, just don't do it because it's trendy. Okay.
Mm-hmm,
If you do it because it's trendy, you're gonna miss the point. Okay. It is part of is one portion of your mindfulness journey. So if you are willing to improve the quality of your life in a mindful way, great, embrace this technique. If you're just doing for beauty or for standards or because it's trendy, I'm not sure if it's going to work and if it will result that way. Okay, because in the context of mindfulness, I can guarantee that it works.
mm-hmm,
In other contexts, with other goals, I don't know. Okay, and probably there are other techniques that will be more efficient. I don't know because it's out of my knowledge if you have that purpose. So I think that's the only mental preparation or mindset when doing kriyas.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yeah. Don't do it just to post on Instagram.
No, don't.
Yes, I agree with you. And we really use those techniques when we are in our detox week. We intensify them. So if you have the opportunity to do one of the detox weeks, we're gonna have one really soon. We always have 2 or 3 a year. So it's a good moment to increase them in your daily routine. And some teacher or a teacher is going to explain you where and how and when to do the kriyas in your daily routine. So it could be also a good moment to start. And to finish, the last question, not the least important, what the nourishment has, what's the relation between nourishment and kriyas?
Okay. Ah, another analogy. It's like your house. If you keep your house clean, it will be easier to clean every day. But if you have your house uh, abandoned, it will be a huge effort to clean the house, right? It will take a lot of your time, a lot of your effort, a lot of your focus to clean the house. The same thing with Kriya. Okay, so do it every day a little bit. It doesn't need to be always the same technique every day, but um, do it often. And when you eat, so when you put things in your plate, double check how easy it will be to brush my teeth, how easy it will be my digestion, how long it will take me to do my next nauli. And probably you reshape your plate for something more mindful. And that way you can balance things. So if your nutrition isn't good enough, I would say good enough uh, with a lot of reserves, but if you just eat trash food, fast food, to make your Kriyas work, you really need to intensify that much. But if you are able to keep it clean, okay, you have your cheat day, that's okay. But make things more even, more balanced will be easier for you. Okay, so it is part of how clean the house it is, how you eat. Okay, so it has a really straight connection, of course.
I like this. I like the analogy that you just did. Okay, no, no, thank you very much. Thanks, everyone. We
Mm,
see you next week. And no, no, you have a course. So if you want maybe to talk a little bit about that
yes,
before we
yes.
finish.
So I prepared a course, a recorded course called Breathe In, Stress Out, Power Up Your Life. It is a free course. It will be available any minute. Okay, it is a question of minutes. So uh, I really invite you to enroll. It's completely free. I did it with a lot of my heart, a lot of passion, and I hope you enjoy it. So you're invited.
Yay, very good. Thank you very much. And see you next week.
See you. Bye bye. Lovely to be here.
Mm, yay.